Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles. We're delighted to have you here. We're here at the South Park Center and we've got Carlos. Carlos, thank you for coming back with us, obviously.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here once again and seeing all you guys. It's a blessing, so thank you for having me.
And your amazing film, which is called?
Oh, it's Con Máscaras y Sin Papeles. So basically translates with mask and without papers.
Mask Without Papers. We're so proud to have you back with us. But for those that haven't seen it, let's take a look at the clip.
At this point in my life, having spent so much time here and so little time in Mexico, dude, I'm more American than I am Mexican. I am very proud of my heritage, very proud of my blood and where I come from, and I show it where I can. As you can see, my designs always have something that shows my Mexican pride. But if I get deported tomorrow, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I wouldn't know which way to go. I'd probably have a difficult time grasping that idea. But I mean, it's helped me build character in me.
Carlos, I'm really, really happy to have you here because not only are you just a great filmmaker, you're always doing such pivotal movements in this industry, and just really, really proud of what you're doing. For those that haven't seen your really, really immense documentary, tell us a brief synopsis.
Yeah, so the documentary is basically about a wrestler who is undocumented like myself. We sort of see his in and outs. We sort of find out that he's undocumented, but we also see that he's struggling outside of the ring. As a wrestler, we see the fights, we see the struggle, but we also see the struggle outside of in the real world. He's trying to go to college, he's trying to finish his education, he's he's a coach, and there's so many things that he's doing at the same time while still trying to build that dream of becoming a wrestler while being undocumented. It's such a struggle there.
I think the way you laid out the documentary was so. I mean, I felt like I was literally there experiencing it, with him, and just to see his passion of what he was experiencing, what was experiencing, what he loves, but then also just that horrible burden of just how he was feeling in family and just and dealing with just life and obviously some of the challenges he had. How did you come about finding this story, firstly?
I wanted to tell the story in a different sense. There's so many of us with so many passions, so many dreams, and I was like, what about a wrestler who is undocumented? Can I find someone like this? I love wrestling. I was always passionate about lucha libre, but
yes.
when I was thinking about how do I tell this story, I'm like, this is going to be hard just to find the person. I go to one of the underground venues of wrestling. I asked the first person, hey, I'm trying to do a documentary about someone who has DACA and is pursuing a higher education. Do you know anybody around here? The guy's like, it's me. You just described me.
What?
And I was like, what? It's the only person I asked, and it was him. And the guy is immense. He's big. He's like 6'3", I don't know, 300 and something pounds. So I was intimidated just to ask him, but I was like, maybe he knows. I really liked the first time I saw him, he was wrestling and putting his whole life on the line. He was throwing himself and didn't really care about getting injured. But I was like, maybe I get lucky and it's him. And it was. And I was like overwhelmed just to know that it was the first person I asked. And he was willing to talk to me again and see what the story was about. And we went from there. We had a meeting, and it was a little secretive too, because you can't really see these people's faces.
Yeah.
So when I first had the meet with him, he didn't have his mask. And I was like, oh, I just got to see who he is.
Wow.
So he's trusting me with something.
Trust is really, firstly, it's very important to have in any documentary that you have a trust with the subjects that you work with. But, was there an extra layer of trust because firstly, you can relate to this experience as well? How did that work in you as a director and that trust element that's so vital for a movie like this?
Yeah, like you said, for any documentary, it's very intimate. So when you're with a person, you're gonna be in places that nobody really goes into. So for me, I usually approach my documentaries and the people who I'm gonna follow in a very genuine and humane way. I talk to them about my background and where I come from and what this film, if we do it, means to me and what it would mean to other people. It will give them the opportunity to tell their story and be recognized that we're more than just a statistic, we're more than just a number, and that we can let people know what we're here to do and our dreams and what we can accomplish. And I basically, you know, told them I'm a DACA recipient myself. My dream is to continue to tell stories about our people in every medium, whether it's animation, documentary, narrative, television, but this is an opportunity where we can make a short about your story. And he thought about it. But you know, it was like a click where we did it. And he was willing to show me everything when it was coming to the mask guy who was making his designs and me inside his apartment where I could see all his trophies and awards and stuff that he has been doing and telling me all his history. We didn't get a chance to interview his mom, but because of COVID, a lot of stuff happened, but we made it work, and it was filled with a lot of heart and a lot of passion for me personally as a creative and for him as a wrestler.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it must have been fun for you to actually, you know, considering you've got a great love for wrestling, to actually be involved in something like this. Now, what was so interesting as well is that I always think to myself, anything that involves kind of sports, especially in documentaries, is quite not the most easiest thing to have to shoot. So how was that experience for you shooting a film like this? Because you did it so well.
There was at times where, you know, you have to get so close to some of these wrestlers that you could get hit.
Yeah, I'm sure, right?
So there was times where Shamu, I would come up at different times, and he was like, "Oh, Carlos, I didn't recognize you. You didn't have your beard, or you didn't have whatever. You're here." And then he would just be distracted for that 1 second, and boom, he would get hit, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to distract you." But it was times like that, but you know, you sort of work around with it, and I had footage from some other camera guy who was there, who I was able to use the footage from, and he was also all over it, but he looked like he had practice managing, jumping, and being around all these people, knowing how to get away with it. Sometimes in the very beginning, I would do sort of like wide shots and not put myself in danger because there is more than just one wrestler around there. So, but it was a nice experience, and yeah, I would do another story just like this any other time.
Well, I think you know, when you're working in the documentary format, and particularly a story that is, you know, it's passion, but there's a lot of sensitivity around this as well, and you have to be sensitive to people's feelings and needs and such, and what they want and what they don't want. Is there anything that, like, through the process of making this and understanding the stories further, that you know that you kind of learned or surprised you, or something you've taken away that you maybe didn't expect from this project?
I mean, just being very open about it. I didn't expect for him to, you know, it looked like we met each other and we knew each other for a long time. So that's very rare to get. There's always an awkward feeling if you don't have that connect.
Yeah.
But because we were able to, you know, meet different aspects of our lives and those similarities, we were able to do that. And that was the beauty of it, you know, that he was willing to tear up and tell you those very sensitive and vulnerable moments in his life that I'm pretty sure he wouldn't share with everybody.
Yeah.
And he did it, and it was mainly because he wanted other people to know that, you know, his dreams are here, and he had bigger dreams, but, you know, circumstances didn't let him continue. I think he wanted to become a professional football player, but because at the moment in the time he didn't have a social security number, so he couldn't continue that route. And you know, he's still pushing, and for me, I'm glad to say that he finished college, and he's gonna get married this year. So he's pushing it, and it's beautiful to see that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's fantastic to hear. Well, congratulations to him.
Yeah.
Now, you know, again, you mesmerize me, Carlos, with all the, with what you do, and the opportunities you do provide. Tell us a little bit how it kind of ties into the organization that you created.
Yeah, so this is it's a great topic because it's about our people, about the undocumented community, about DACA recipients, and the organization that I have, it's called UndocuCinema. So basically anybody who is undocumented that's pursuing a career in film or television, whether it's editing, directing, acting, we sort of showcase their work throughout our platform, and if there is a GoFundMe or anything that they would need so that we could branch it out to people, we do it. The ultimate goal is to give scholarships for those who are pursuing the arts. So in the long run, we hope to give scholarships for anybody who is undocumented or documented, but also if anybody who is not a DACA recipient or undocumented, but is sort of trying to push our narrative forward in a way, or one way or another, we'll give them a scholarship too. This is a brand new movement, but we're getting a good response. A lot of high school kids reach out and they tell us, "Oh, I can't believe you guys have this platform. I'm undocumented, but I want to do film and I want to do television." I'm like, yes. Don't limit yourself because you don't have this piece of paper. Push forward and then create. Tell your story, no matter what you use, whether if it's an iPhone, animation, whatever it is, do it. And we know that you're gonna succeed as long as you're passionate about what you're doing.
Well, listen, you didn't have to go the extra mile, but you did to create such a platform like this. Yeah. For you personally, having been through it yourself and come through as a DACA recipient, what was that moment where you're like, I have to make this organization happen?
It started when I was in college. As a DACA recipient, you don't get, at the moment, when I was in school, I didn't get financial aid. So there was no resource of money. So there was a semester where I would go to school and then stop, work my butt off, and get money to go back to school and then do it again. So I will always lose those friendships and connections with those people and find different people right at the end. When I told my counselor, is there any scholarships that you guys have for undocumented people who are pursuing, film? There was like, what's DACA? They don't know what that is. For anybody that doesn't know, that's a work permit that lets you work for 2 years, and you have to renew it every 2 years to do it. It protects you from getting deported, but it's like a membership that you just have here. It's nothing permanent. We're continuing to push, a reform, a Clean Dream Act.
Yeah.
Nothing seems to be happening, but we have to continue to do stories and narratives and projects to continue to tell our narrative and let them know that we exist. And let them know that we're here and that we're not going nowhere. We're just going to continue pushing and being stronger.
Absolutely.
Take whatever you want. Like, we're going to succeed, and we're gonna push our stories forward, and this is a beautiful way to do it. So if you want to follow it, you could go on social media. It's called UndocuCinema, and be a part of the movement.
I'm loving it. And you've had some great content from there, including this, lovely film as well.
Yeah.
What's next, Carlos? What's happening? What's going on?
Right now, I am the line producer for a hybrid short called Mosca. We have our studio animation based in Mexico, and then they're working right now on the animation. We shot all the live action, and we hope to bring that by the end of the year and have that finished. So that's a very unique piece because you're working with live action, you're working with people and actors, and then now we're adding and mixing it up with animation. So it's gonna be really cool. It's a beautiful short, so you're gonna enjoy it.
And just to finalize, for anybody that is in the position of being undocumented or anyone that is trying to pursue themselves into film, do you have kind of any advice aside from obviously coming to find you and making sure? Do you have any advice that you can kind of share as just as a human being, but also as a creative person too?
It's all me. I think I try to, anytime I see somebody who is always saying, "Oh, I can't do it, I don't know how." I always try to motivate them and be like, "No, don't limit yourself because of this. Don't worry if your parents are not okay with what it is that you're studying or what you're doing. As long as you love what you do and you're passionate about the art and just you're hungry, you're gonna succeed." And I always tell them, I go to the extreme and I'd be like, you only get one life. So it's like, use that one life to just be happy and pursue that opportunity. If you fail, good, you failed, but you learned and you experienced, and you're gonna continue failing until you finally succeed, and you're gonna get up and you're gonna be like, yes, I did it, right? It's what they say, it's better to do it than to imagine. So just do it, and you're gonna be happy with it in the long run. Sure, it's not gonna be perfect, but nothing is perfect. You're always just gonna continue experiencing and learning So dale, 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 and continue pushing forward. Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you so much, as always. Thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for bringing the great projects that you do. Well done on this film, but,
thank you.
Looking forward to seeing your next one as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you,
Carlos,
appreciate
everybody.
it.